Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is A Woman's Prerogative. We are live streaming right now on the social media platforms, as well as our YouTube channel, E360 TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku worldwide, as well as Instagram. So hello to everyone. Thanks for being here today. Our topic is spring cleaning inside out. Let's welcome our panel to have our lively discussion. Starting off with Mariska Dupria. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Good morning to you.
And good afternoon to you. And I know that we are having our spring cleaning topic for us here in the Southern Hemisphere going into autumn.
That's right. You're always ahead. So you can give us what we need to look out for as we're starting to do this, because you're already ahead of us as always. So there in New Zealand. Well, thanks for being here. I'm glad that the team could come up with a time that worked for everyone for right now until the time changes in GMT. Let's welcome our friends from the UK, Caroline HEWARD. Hello.
Woo! Hello. Always lovely to be here. We are now in the evening, Mariska. So,
yes. Yes, so we're in 3 different time zones, which is really cool. I love it. So thank you, Caroline, for being here. And let's welcome Dr. Madalene Chan, who is on location with her mother. Hello, welcome.
Hello, ladies. Hi, everyone. Oh, my gosh. It's so exciting, isn't it? The fact that we're all from different parts of the globe and we're just having a party online.
It really is. And you have a special guest there. Tell us who's with you. I just told us, but tell us.
Yes. Well, I'm here in Doncaster. Actually, Caroline, I'm going to give you a call because Caroline comes from Doncaster. I know. And I'm staying with my mom. She's 86 years old, and yeah, she lives by herself. And she said, why not come up? So I had some spare time, so it felt it was the right time to come up and see my mom.
Let's bring mom out. Come on, mom.
Okay, Mom,
Where are you?
come
Come on out.
Good to hear, Mom. Live television. You're right there. There she
Wow,
is.
there she is. Out of nowhere. I love
There's
it. Good to see you, mom.
Thank you.
Shall we call you mom, or should we call you by your first name? What would you prefer?
You can call Helen, yes.
Helen.
My
Very
name's
nice to meet you,
Helen.
Helen. You know,
Yes.
Helen, you probably are an expert when it comes to spring cleaning inside and out. When you think of spring cleaning, Helen, what comes to mind for you?
Oh. Spring cleaning in the house, just spring cleaning the apartment.
Okay, so actually physically cleaning the apartment.
Yes.
Fantastic. And Mariska, since you're already into autumn, when you did your spring cleaning, was it involving cleaning your house as well as some other things, or how would you describe your spring cleaning?
She's just calling Mariska. Mariska. Yeah. She's just talking to Mariska.
So for me, spring cleaning would be a little bit house, a little bit garden. I typically make sure that everything gets tidied up in the garden just a little bit more so that all the new growth can show itself. And then the other places that I also enjoy spring cleaning is creating some inner space for myself, because it is a new season, it's new growth. And looking back at what I learned from the time before, and what I want to bring into this new season, seeing as our spring is at the end of the year, so we go into spring in September, October, it is a twice a year sort of ritual for me to look at my year, because I do it during spring and then I do it during New Year as well. So I get the privilege twice.
So, Mariska, is it safe to say that you're pretty cleaned up and cleaned out there?
Well, it's amazing how much we can accumulate in 12 months or even 6 months. So it might need an autumn cleaning.
All right, there you go. Thanks for sharing that. Caroline, how about you? What comes up for you when you think about spring cleaning?
Well, we're just literally heading into our spring. Our clocks go forward. Spring forward is an hour forward this Saturday night and the Sunday morning twee hours. And I've already been preparing. I'm preparing the paperwork so that I'm clearing the decks with the paperwork, what I owe for different things, because there's a lot of fiscal things to clear in this springtime. You know, sort of it's the end of our tax year financially in the financial systems. Also, it's about sort of cleaning all my decks, my home. And I've been away in training all weekend, and I've had a good spring clean in terms of being in very deepest meditation. And we did an exercise called the control room. And essentially it was to dim down all the things that were negative in our lives. It was a group hypnosis, and then to turn up all the good things that we wanted. So prosperity, abundance, health, greater communication. And so and that was how we finished our course on the weekend. And it was just lovely because it was a perfect spring clean. And so, yes, I'm still spring cleaning in preparation for the beginning of our spring.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing that. We here in the States, and not every state observes daylight savings, but we already moved forward with our clocks. So I've been doing some spring cleaning myself, but I want to go over to Dr. Madalene Chan. What will you be doing when it comes to spring cleaning?
Well, I have to be absolutely honest with you. I'm not the best cleaner, as in cleaning houses, or I'm just not. And as far as like washing up, I'm just terrible. But the cleaning that I like to do is more about energy clearing. I feel that it's good to do your body cleanse with energy, and also how can I say, with spring cleaning, I think it's important. I like the idea of what Mariska said, autumn clean and spring clean as well. I mean, there should be a summer and there should be a winter's clean. There should be 4 big cleans really a year, shouldn't there? Not just one big spring clean a year.
Well, it could be a daily cleaning, a daily cleanse, right? Where we just look at our lives, what's working and what's not. And
that's it, Dr. Jacqueline, a daily cleanse. My goodness.
But I think what happens is we get so caught up in what we're doing that we put everything to the side because we're busy doing. And once the clocks change, for example, I know it affects some people differently, but because you lose an hour of sleep or you gain at the other time of the year, it really messes up with people's time clocks. I didn't have any problem with it myself, but how about the rest of you? When you lose an hour of sleep, does it really impact you?
I feel it. Usually, touch wood, I'm usually on some kind of training when it happens. This weekend, I'm not. I'm actually working with clients. And so I'm usually in kind of some sort of deep processing and meditation. So I sleep through it and I always feel like I really lost the hour. But then I look forward to getting it back. I just have to wait a little while to get it back in October. But I actually say, hey, you took an hour and now I'm going to get it back.
You're on a layaway plan, sort of.
Absolutely.
So when we think about the work that we do, okay, each of us has talents and gifts in certain areas. How can we use what it is that we do to help others with their spring cleaning? And of course, that can be interpreted many ways. If you happen to have a house cleaning business, you literally could go and help someone clean out their house. If you're doing energy work, energy clearing, therapy, if you're working with engineers, there's all different ways. So Mariska, I'm going to go over to you. Tell us a little bit about what you do as a leadership development partner, and then how can you use this time for spring cleaning, your autumn cleaning, to help your clients?
So working with my engineers, typically moving into their leadership space, one of the things that, especially within the leadership space, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, Dr. Jacqueline, we get into the doing a lot, and we do not always concentrate on the being and the strategic piece of what we want to implement. And in the leadership space especially, that is very, very important. So whether it is autumn cleaning, spring cleaning, or anywhere in between cleaning that you want to be doing, one of the things that I would help my clients with is to do a different type of reflection. So normal reflection practices are really good for us as human beings, and especially so as leaders, because that's a great way for us to learn and integrate our learning. And during the specific times of year, to actually go and look at a little bit of a different timeline. So it might be that we look further ahead as to what we are planning, what we are creating within that space that we are in, and how we can help our team to move into that direction, as well as looking a little bit further back and learning from what we went through, what happened in the past year, the past 2 years, the past 5 years. Because looking at those different time frames, we can gain different types of insights. And we don't do that on a typical day-to-day basis. For most of us, we struggle just to fit in a small little bit of reflection on a day-to-day basis, never mind doing any other sort of reflections. So these times for spring cleaning is really uncovering those learnings in the space where we are in, and really tapping the juices out of it so that we can use it going forward, and we don't put it in a cupboard where someplace it is gathering dust. And that is the intention of spring cleaning, is being able to undust everything and bring new life into it. And we can do this within our leadership space as well by bringing new learning into that space from different timeframes. So that's the way that I would approach it, Jacqueline.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Dr. Chan, what do you think about what Mariska shared? What would you like to add?
I thought you were going to ask me this. I believe that you're absolutely right on cue when you say that it's important to have reflection where you learn and look at the lessons that you've gone through in order to go forward. And I also believe it's undust in the way that get the cobwebs. It's time to look at all our behavior patterns on emotional, physical, mental well-being. That's the time. In fact, really, it's January and February, really, that are the 2 months that give us that time to work on what we want to achieve and what we want. And then springtime is almost, hello, doors opened, let's go in and let's start working. Let's action our thoughts. And if we've got certain things that need to be cleared, as what Mariska was saying, that is the time of the 2 timelines to work, which is the rainbow bridge that bridges both timelines. So you work within the rainbow bridge of the 2 timelines.
Thank you very much. Helen, what do you think about what your daughter just shared?
Well, I just don't know, because she's so different to the family.
I love it. That's great. And it's
understand me.
We all have something different to add, right? It's different value that we can add. Caroline, what would you like to share about what Mariska said?
Mariska, I really endorse the fact that you look back to go forward. That's something that is very key. So I'm in agreement with both Dr. Chan and yourself in terms of looking at where you've been and where you want to go, and then the bit in between in terms of the learning and going forward. And that's the piece that I'm always looking at. I'm always looking at what's happened, how can I improve, and how can I go forward in terms of how does this make me better for myself and obviously also for my clients. The other thing that I would do is I'm very much in alignment with the practices of the equinox. So the spring equinox, the autumn equinox, the new moons and the full moons. So I tend to be quite ritualistic around those times and create what's important for me, as well as what's important for my clients. Now, looking at my clients, what they do is when it comes to times like this, so the spring when there's like the Easter holiday coming up and it's family time, I tend to get a lot of very stressed out people calling me because they're looking ahead already in anticipation of the stress of being in the family environment. And I actually have been quite busy in calls all of last week because there is now the lead up to the bank holiday weekend, the big bank holiday, which is the first one since Christmas. So I feel that in the period of this time in particular, in springtime, there is also a look for my clients in terms of what do they need to do, how do they need to move forward, not only in business, but actually in family. And I tend to get a lot of people looking and reflecting at what's not working within their personal life, which is reflecting back into their business life. So a little bit different to what you do, Mariska, you're looking at where they're going in their business. Usually I'm looking at where they are in their personal life, where it's not working. And for some unknown reason, it brings everybody out in the spring, and the bank holidays are always a really key time that stress seems to happen around them, and they start looking inwardly. And so they're looking for a clear out, a cleansing. And so just like Dr. Chan, I'm actually offering meditational type work, retreat type work, breath work to move them forward so that they feel much more peaceful to be able to have a better time with their family.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Everybody had some great points to share. So when you think about the work that you're doing on an inside level, right? Things we work from the inside out typically, you may find yourself in environments or with others that are not doing that same level or type of cleaning. How do you actually channel your emotions if you start to feel anxiety or some kind of negative feelings coming on when someone's in a different place than you? Or do you not feel negative feelings?
Well, I'd like to put my view on that. Of course I do. I think we all must. We're all human. It doesn't matter how much practice we're in, we're all human. But from my perspective, and it is, you know, sort of a little bit odd in terms of other people wouldn't be doing this. If I'm feeling anxious about anything and I'm really feeling it, because I tend to be very empathic and feel other people's, I go and put on a mantra, and then I'm singing and dancing to Sanskrit mantras. And so it changes. And I really do, seriously. My neighbors can attest to this because they hear me singing. And that changes me. That changes my feeling. And that changes my frequency, my vibration. And then I become more resourceful. Or I'll put on some 80s music because that's my time, and I will stick on my headset so I won't disturb my neighbours, and I will dance and sing. I do my best not to sing too loudly, but I will dance and sing under the headset. And now I don't do it at 2 a.m. because my neighbour came round and said something. I do it now at sort of 4, 5, and 6 in the evening or in the afternoon when they're working. But I will do something that essentially I enjoy. Also cooking. You know, I'll play my healing mantras while I'm cooking. So I'm chanting while I'm cooking, which means that I'm imbuing the food that I'm cooking with Sanskrit blessing. So I'm literally blessing the food as I'm cooking. And it's very, very therapeutic for me. So I'm looking at all sorts of different ways of actually incorporating, making me feel okay. Because if I'm not okay, the world isn't okay around me. And then I get the challenges of anxiety, stress, and everything else, and I tend to pick up stuff. So in order to keep myself in my bubble, I will have my mantras playing and I'm dancing.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you for sharing that. Helen, you just heard what Caroline said about mantras and cooking and dancing. I'm sure in your life you've had times when you felt anxious. How do you deal with anxiety?
Sometimes I read, or I put a piece of classical music on, and I just rest.
Very nice. So classical music or reading. What types of books or magazines, what kind of content do you like to read?
I like to read about different parts of the world. Yes.
That's lovely.
And Mom loves sports.
And I do love sport, of course.
Oh, she loves sports. Don't you, Mom?
Yes.
What kind of sports do you love?
Chelsea Football Club, Chelsea Women's as well.
So for me here in the States, Chelsea is that a location?
Pardon? That the Chelsea is the women's football club.
Women's football. Okay. And I think their football is our soccer. Is that right?
That's right. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for sharing, Helen.
Yes.
Mariska, what do you do when you feel anxiety? Are you chanting? Are you dancing? Are you singing? Are you reading? Are you enjoying sports?
I would do a little bit of both, not so much chanting, the singing and dancing from time to time. It's especially when I think I haven't done it in some time. So over this weekend, I actually had some 80s music. Yes, Caroline, I also love that time of music. Some older stuff too. And did a little bit of boogieing while I cooked and cleaned the house. So that was good. Really enjoyed that. And in the moment, what I have found, and this is also something that with the leaders that I work with, we work on this to bring it into the space where we're in. So if we're in a conversation and maybe we feel some anxiety coming up or some stress coming up for ourselves, being able to ground ourselves just a little bit more in order to have the conversation we want to have, then I would focus more on presencing practices. So it might be some breathing work, it might be some mindfulness practices, and small little ones where it might be as easy as rubbing your fingers together so that you can feel your fingertip ridges. So it's really, really easy practices, and it is intended to bring us back to the present, bring us back into our body, and then we can move from there. So it's small practices to just break the cycle of anxiety, worry, anger, whatever it is that came up at that moment. So those are things that I would utilize within my toolkit. And then, of course, like Caroline said, all those deep work practices where you go into the longer expeditions of, well, either meditations, mantras, long holidays also work really well, reading books and so forth.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mariska. I find with myself, I do some talking to myself. I'm not talking out loud, but the first thing I'll say to myself is, why is this triggering me to feel upset? And is this mine? Is this mine? Do I need to take it on? And regardless, why is it causing me to feel a certain way? So once I look at that, I think to myself, how can I distance myself from this if it's not mine? And sometimes this is in a split second that I have to make this kind of decision. And the other thing is, maybe you have to take some kind of action. So I'll tell you something that happened recently, but I'm not going to tell you something that happened. I'm not going to tell you the specifics, but we were on a show and something amazing happened. And I had an opportunity to do something, and I didn't get to tell the other person I was with. And when I went to do this certain thing, the other person wasn't on point really with what it was they were supposed to be saying. And they were just, and what I did was I just took the person off the screen, and then I put the other person up. And then I thought I have to take action because it's starting to take the show downhill. And when I brought the person back, they were on mute the rest of the time. That was kind of like a bold move for me, but I thought, in the professional sense, I have to make a decision because it impacts the professionalism of the program. But it's not that easy to do that in real life. You cannot mute someone. It would be nice to be able to just say, you are currently muted, but you can't. So another technique that I've used, I haven't used it recently, but I have walked out of a room. I've just said, that's it for me right now. Because what happens is we get so keyed up, and it might end up where we're putting fuel on the fire and we didn't need to. So as the other person's getting more and more upset and it's triggering us, then we're losing our cool. And you've got two people who are basically losing it, and it's really impacting the relationship. Dr. Chen, what do you think about that?
I think it's great, the fact that you analyze it, Dr. Jacalyn, in the way that if that person's treating me in that way and I'm not receiving the response that I thought I would, is it something that's within me? So absolutely, I totally resonate on that. And one thing that I'd like to add to it is because when we were changing and waking up to our true self and following our heart center rather than our ego, for example, it's almost, when I feel personally there's someone, I'm feeling anxiety from somebody, from someone's actions or someone's words thrown at me, what I do is I remember, what was I like before I woke up? Because right now the energy is so chaotic that it is about triggering, it is about cleansing and purifying, and therefore there's going to be more of this. And it's almost, we have to be compassionate and not judge, but just be compassionate. And another thing I do is I always say, I'm grateful. I am grateful for this. I am grateful for that. And what it does, it takes me out of their energy and puts me back into my own power. That's what I
Thank you very much.
so.
Helen, what do you think about what your daughter shared?
She's so complicated.
Thank you.
We love her.
I'm so complicated.
We love her.
I've never seen it before.
You know what I think is interesting about, if you think about getting triggered, sometimes I think to myself when I'm triggered about something, is it because I feel insecure? Is something about what the other person's doing bringing up something in me where I feel weak, where I don't have confidence? And maybe the two have absolutely nothing to do with each other. So for our resident in-house therapist, why is that if we get triggered sometimes, it's sort of a mirror that we're looking at about our own insecurity?
Well, Dr. JACALYN, we've had a number of conversations about triggering, and I feel it's important for our audience to know what the word triggering means, because they might not be familiar with that term. And it's if something happens or somebody says something to you and it makes you feel out of sorts, or it makes you feel upset or anxious, or there's a reaction essentially from you. So it's your reaction to the situation or what somebody said. And their stuff is their stuff. So if they are saying something that's really angry, or if they're being really angry or very upset, they have their own stuff that they're angry or upset about. And if you are feeling something, and we're going to use the word trigger, so if you are having a reaction, a trigger to what they're saying, it is then bringing up something in you about a situation or an experience that you haven't resolved internally. And it's not generally about the other person specifically, it's something that's inside of you that just hasn't been resolved. Or you could be very empathic in terms of very taking on other people's stuff without realizing it, and that would be about your boundaries. So allowing other people to kind of climb all over your boundaries, and so they diminish your boundaries, and so you take on their stuff. So there's two sides to this. It might be that you just take it on without realizing because they throw it onto you, and that's called transference. And if we pick it up, then that makes us suffer. But if there's something else that makes us feel not good, and it starts bringing up feelings of inadequacy, feelings of low self-esteem, there is something there to look at. And it's not always easy to see our own stuff. It's very challenging because we're in it. We're in the same consciousness of what created it. So it's always good to have a sounding board and speak to a mentor, or a therapist, or a coach, someone else that can give you some feedback or some insight, because it's not always the best way to find the solution and the insight for ourselves.
I love that, Caroline. Thank you so much. And what some of you may not know is Caroline and I have been working together. We've done, I think hundreds of shows on the Listening Mentor. And so we have this chemistry between us where I think we have really deep and powerful conversations. So Carolyn, I'm going to offer this up and then open it up to the group. When we think about spring cleaning inside out, I'd like to throw out the idea of really listening to the other person. If you're having a conversation and they're saying something that is really triggering you, it's hurting your feelings, it's making you anxious, you feel angry, you feel annoyed. What about being totally present and taking all those feelings, putting them aside and just listening? What kind of outcome could come from that, Caroline?
Oh, it's very powerful. You know, sometimes I have conversations with my mum. She's talking to me about things that have happened. And when I remain fully present, which I do for the best part of my time, sometimes, you know, I'm human and I don't always, I've got something going on. But when I'm fully present with her and she's sharing some things, maybe she's had a bad day, maybe she's not feeling very well, maybe she's in a lot of pain. It really makes, sometimes when I'm not fully present, you know, it makes me tearful because I don't like to hear her suffering. But when I completely get very present and listen and hear everything that she says and just completely be there for me, so for her, something really interesting happens. She becomes more relaxed and I'm actually totally there for her. And she usually ends the call by saying, I feel a bit tired, I'm going to go to sleep. And I just think it's beautiful because I believe that she really feels listened to and she doesn't want me to respond with a solution. Well, what about using this? What about using that? She just needs to say, and then she feels different, better. So I've had experiences personally, you know, because I want to fix my mum. I want her to be okay. I don't want her to be suffering. I don't want her to be in any kind of pain. And we all want that, don't we, for our loved ones and our family. But you can't fix someone like that. You can only be there. And when you're fully present with the other person, all there is compassion and love.
That was beautiful. And of course, you gave your mom that gift of elevated listening. So congratulations for that. That feels great. Mariska, what do you think about when you are triggered the next time by someone or something, you taking your feelings, maybe just kind of like zoning them out and just staying present and listening to what the other person has to say? How do you think that would work for you?
Dr. Jacalyn, one of the things that I really appreciate about the listening and being present is that we can bring our curiosity into that space. And when we do feel triggered, and I know for me, typically my brain will go into defend mode or it might go into attack mode, depending on what it is that's happening. And if I can keep my mouth shut, be present, and listen to the other person, I might discover something, some connection, some insight that I didn't have before around them, around myself, around the bigger environment in which we are both part in and moving through. And that also changes then the emotional state that I am in. So typically, if we are able to do that for, I think in research, they said around about a minute, just keep your mouth shut, do some breathing, and really listen to the other person, we will find that our emotional state starts to change. And that is really helpful for me because then I am able to listen even deeper and even more to the person that's speaking. In those cases where, as Caroline mentioned, yes, I am human, I'm not from a different planet. So the emotion might become overwhelming. It's so much that for some odd reason, my muscles isn't quite developed enough to keep them in a space where I can feel more control of them. I would then ask the person whether we can take a small little break in order for me to compose myself and be ready for the conversation before stepping back in. And I do think that that's also a sign of respect to the other person because I want to listen deeply to them. And if I feel that for some odd reason in myself, I'm not able to do that, I would rather give both of us space in order to come back to the conversation and then listen fully at an elevated level.
I love that idea of taking space. Thank you so much. And I want to offer also out there that we sometimes feel like we're in a competition. Oh, I've got to win this one. I have to have the last word in this conversation. I'm going to be letting that person text last, and I'm not going to answer because I'm empowered now. And I feel like if we got rid of that whole competitive nature and looked at it as how can we really give a gift to someone else? Because when that interaction or that conversation or that text exchange, whatever it is over, we're still the same person we were before that. And we have to make a decision based on what was shared with us. Are we going to embrace it and internalize it and maybe make some type of change? Or are we going to have some kind of anger or resentment toward the person because they're not on the same page with us? So as we come to the end of our show, Dr. Chan and Helen, what would you like to add to what I just said about giving the gift of listening, especially when it comes to letting go of competing with the other person to say, I'm going to have the last word?
You want to go, Mom?
You go first.
Okay, I go first. All right. All I'm going to say is that if you are triggered, if you react to something, to someone, then all you're doing is going on that same vibration as that person. So instead of diffusing the situation by actually listening and not reacting, if you react, all you're going to do is make them angry and cause and add more fuel to that energy. So all you're going to have is a catalyst of a mess, and it's going to be very difficult to the point to get out of it. So it's important to, as you were saying, not to be keeping up with the Joneses, as they say, but just to step back and listen, and really elevated listening, because maybe there's something there that brings a calmness, and it will bring a calmness, because that having no reaction, that person will just vent and shout, and then realize they've got no audience, they've got no one there to actually feed back to, and then they just exhaust themselves and the energy is drained. But if you fuel it, you're adding more energy to it, so it's growing and growing and growing. So yeah, absolutely. Power of elevated listening, which is Dr. Jacalyn's book,
Yes,
and everything,
yes.
and her courses, is absolutely necessary for this world, and especially now. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Chan. Helen, what would you like to add when it comes to not having to have the last word in a conversation, maybe just giving the gift of listening to the other person?
Well, not really, because we are so busy. We have such a large family, and I'm a great grandma. I'm a grandma. I have my grandson has twin girls, and my granddaughter has a little boy called Oscar, and he is very intelligent, and he's not even 2 yet. And
Well, congratulations on your beautiful family. That is wonderful. I'm sure you do a lot of active listening.
Oh yes, it's wonderful.
I was going to say, adding to this, sometimes my sister, who works in the National Health at the hospital, she comes over and she comes to see Mom, and she just expresses her day. And what do you do, Mom? You listen. You listen.
I listen.
She just listens. She just listens and listens, don't you?
Yes, yes.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Helen, for listening. And thank you so much for being our special guest today. I would like to go around sort of the lightning round. So 30 seconds to a minute at tops. Please let us know how people can reach out to you and the value that you can bring to them. Let's start with Caroline.
Thank you, Dr. JACALYN. You can reach out to me by email using nomorestress@live.co.uk or call me on +44 if you're international. If you're local, 07523 120 189. I offer a free, very short consultation over the phone, and that will literally bust your stress. That's one symptom. I'm actually going to offer a more extensive offer, which is for an hour consultation at a very stupidly reduced price of £50. And you can reach out to me using my email or call me to book that in.
That price is insane, Caroline. It's insane. It's crazy. What do you think? You've got to contact Caroline while this offer lasts. Let's go over to Mariska.
So you can contact me if you are an engineer moving into leadership or leader moving up in your leadership journey by getting in contact via my email, which is mariska@journey2discover.com, or alternatively, you can connect via LinkedIn and write me a message and we can start our conversation to get you to be a more human leader.
Thank you, Mariska. I hear that in my sleep. The number 2, I hear that. I love it. Dr. Chan, how can people get in touch with you?
Oh my goodness. If people can, I would love anyone to contact me if they want to awaken their creative genius, their creative heart, which helps them to find their inner passion, purpose, and belief. And also, if they want a song about it as well, they might want to write about their brand or from adversity to awesome life, which I borrowed that title from you, actually, Dr. JACALYN, from your book. Okay. Yes, on LinkedIn, Dr. Madalene Chan. You can find me on there, or my my website, madalenchan.com. I would love to hear from anyone that would like to bring out their creative heart genius. And don't forget the book that Dr. JACALYN and myself have collaborated on, the Creative Hearts Awakening book. So we're on book 2 now. So we're looking for special individuals that have the passion, purpose, and belief, and they're actually doing it. They're actually creating it, and what they want to help. How can it help to manifest in this world to help change to a better world through their creativity? So please do get in touch, because we're looking for some more creative hearts out there to contribute. Collaborate.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And thank you, Helen, for being here. We are closing out our show today. We want to ask, if you are watching on Roku, please do download our app on Roku Worldwide, download our app on Amazon Fire. We're also on E360 TV. You can find their apps there as well. And also on Instagram. If you are watching on any of these other platforms, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV and Radio, because we get real numbers there as to how many people are watching, where they're watching from. If you'd like to be a guest on this show or any of our other shows, please do go to our website, which is usaglobaltvandradio.com or usaglobaltv.com. We would love to have you book your session. All right, we'll be back next week. Please do join us, and we have a full lineup of programs all week, so there's something for everyone. I want to say thank you to our new sponsor, Empower Her Royal Escape. Let's take a look, and we'll see you again soon. Bye, everyone.
Women of the Caribbean and around the world, are you tired of the status quo? Tired of barely making ends meet? Tired of giving maximum effort for minimum results? Are you in need of change, a fresh start, a new outlook, a new perspective? It's time to break through. Join us along with women from around the world at the Empower Her Escape, a 5-day all-inclusive royal cruise to the Bahamas and Florida. Connect with world leaders and influencers and begin afresh your journey to more. Hear dynamic speakers with sessions on women in leadership, the importance of mentorship, how to start a business from the ground up, financial literacy, an integrated approach to wellness and wholeness, and so much more. Guest speakers include First Lady Anne-Marie Davis of the Bahamas, Her Royal Highness Katerina of Yugoslavia Lady de Silva, Her Royal Highness Queen Sekothali Mephena of South Africa, and Coach Max, Global Multi-Six-Figure Wealth Coach. Cruise packages include 2 nights at an all-exclusive resort, gratuities, taxes, and port fees, red carpet welcome and extravaganza, course materials, and a souvenir gift bag, flight not included. The Empower Her Escape Cruise takes place on May 15th through the 19th, 2024, departing from the port of Palm Beach, Riviera Beach, Florida. Hosts for this life-changing event are Coach Cherish Hollingsworth of Florida and Coach Mercy Gilbert of the UK. For more information, visit our website at www.empowerherroyalescape.com or call us at 954-203-6608 or email us at cherishresiliencecoach@gmail.com. Connect, collaborate, celebrate at the Empower Her Escape Cruise.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents our partner and sponsor, Mr. Philip Sykes and the British School of Excellence. Building confidence, changing lives. And now, proudly presenting the Polished Professional.
On a transformative journey with the British School of Excellence's comprehensive suite of masterclasses, crafted to elevate your professional and personal life. 8 outstanding modules will elevate you to the next level. Module 1, Exploring Life's Purpose, delves into the depths of self-discovery, guiding you to chart your unique path to fulfillment and success. Module 2, Mastering Professional Presence and Confidence. This masterclass is a deep dive into the art of self-assurance and commanding presence, which is essential for standing out in today's competitive landscape. Module 3, Learn the Secrets of Visual Impact, how to curate a personal style that amplifies your professional brand. Module 4, Mastering Professional Etiquette and Communication Excellence, navigating the nuances of corporate interaction with grace and tact. Module 5, Elegance in Eloquence. We impart powerful techniques to captivate and persuade any audience with your oratory skills. Module 6, Unlock the potential of your emotional intelligence, EQ, and harness the ability to connect, empathize, and lead with emotional savvy. Module 7, Mastering DISC, building a gateway to understanding behavioral styles, fostering better personal and professional relationships. Module 8, Mastery in Dining Etiquette, building your confidence to perfect the subtleties of dining with finesse, enhancing your social savviness at any table. Step into the Polished Professional program where poise, elegance, and excellence aren't just taught, they're instilled for life. Join us to redefine your potential and polish your professional edge.
To learn more, go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. The British School of Excellence are investors in people. Let us invest in you. This program has been brought to you in part by Zane Carson Carruth, etiquette and protocol expert, international award-winning author, television show host, and philanthropist. Thank you to Zane, our official diamond sponsor for USA Global TV and Radio in partnership with E360 TV. Zane is the author of the world's first tooth fairy ever, as well as many other children's books. She's also the television host of Elegance, Polished Demeanor, and Posh Living, seen on USA Global TV and Radio.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Carruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Bella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book, Bella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Bella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
To learn more about Zane, contact her through her website, zanecarruth.com, ZANECARRUTH.com. Order Zane's books and merchandise. Contact her about being a keynote speaker at your next event.